The scariest stories are the ones that are true. I was introduced to Slender Man a few months ago when some guy wanted to pull a prank on my friend. He asked for my help, but I didn't follow along and just left. He wanted to scare my friend with a Slender Man costume. I looked up the Slender Man and read through the mythos, ignoring the "do not look too deeply into the legend or he will find you" warnings, and went on to marble hornets. I love the story and everything, but it was a little uneasy feeling at night. I thought I might be psyching myself out, but then weird things started happening. My parents say I will be awake and talking to them for hours before I actually wake up. They'll say I do things I didn't do, like make tea and see it is half empty, when I wonder if they told the truth. My parents are honest people and I believe them, but it is impossible. A couple of nights ago, I felt like I was being watched. Uncharacteristically, I looked out the window and saw a flash of white and black. That night, I had a dream. I drew on a sheet of paper what I saw in the dream. I remember drawing this, and I'm glad I did, because I have forgotten the dream. My reaction time is slower, along with my memory being shorter each day. I drew an operator symbol and taped it over my door, and since then I have had no experiences. The only thing is that, I, being 16, have never in my life had a stuffy nose. Yet recently it is always clogged, followed by major headaches that Tylenol can't treat. I don't know what's been up, but I still feel like I'm being watched. Sometimes my phone shuts off and my TV goes to static, followed by a headache.
This happened at about the time I was 4 or 5. Like any other little kid, I would get scared of most things, but this one time scared me more than any other. After a normal day in the life of a kindergartner, I went to sleep at about 10 o'clock. Half the time I either forget my dreams or just don't dream at all. Tonight was not one of those nights. After drifting off to sleep, I begin a very weird dream. I see myself walking down a long, narrow, dark corridor, light only coming from a door at the very end. I slowly walk through the hallway to the room, which is very bright, the entire room seeming to be covered in white. I walk into the room, but there's nothing to explore in there. As I'm about done looking at this room, I turn around back to the door to get in the corridor again, where this time there's a man standing there. I just see his long, black, business suit, and I start looking up closely. Okay, red tie, I think to myself. I eventually look at his face. There is no face. I am looking at a white orb with a neck, wearing a business suit, standing almost 8 feet tall. Like any normal kid my age, I scream. The scream rips me away from the dream into real life. I'm sweating and my heart is racing. I look towards the clock to read 12:57 a.m. My dad opens the door to my room, and when he comes in he asks what's wrong. Apparently, on my dad's recalling, he claims I said, "tall stick man."
I am currently an 18-year-old female, and I live in Oklahoma City. This event occurred when I was 15, but it happened in the same location. My friend, I was with her at the time of the incident, lives in a fairly decent neighborhood that was 15 minutes walking distance from a 7-Eleven. Her parents allowed us to make late-night trips there for snacks on occasion. As you are walking down this street to 7-Eleven, there is a park to the left. All it has in it is weird statue things, but I was familiar with them. Mind you, it was about 12:30. As we are walking by this park to the left, we could see this extremely tall figure. I recall it being as tall as the branches of surrounding trees. He seemed to be dressed in all black, and extremely pale. I am an extremely logical person, so I wanted to validate it was just some strange, tall person. I shouted repeatedly at this thing. After no response, we ran off as fast as possible, and referred to this thing as Voldemort because of its paleness. It wasn't until 2 years later that my friend informed me of Slender Man, and I realized that whatever I saw that night, looked exactly like him.